have a couple of really fun examples for you today, whether or not you have a formal dining room or a casual dining room. My mom has put together some really great arrangements, and she's going to show us how to put some stuff together quick and easy for our holiday celebrations this year. So Mom, tell us a little bit about this beautiful arrangement you've put together here, because most of these you've used poinsettias.
Yes, I'm using poinsettias to show you various ways to use them rather than the foil wrapper over the pot that gets plumped on a table, and about a week later the plant gets dry, the foliage falls off, and you're left with bare leaves and a flower on the top, which is too bad because the flower is beautiful.
And they're expensive.
And they are expensive, yes. Now in this container, which is a small metal bird bath, I use 2 pink poinsettias. They're still in their plastic pots, but I've surrounded them with a variety of materials. House plants, purple African violet. On the back side there's a variegated plant, I don't know the name of it, but it's a kind of a black purple color. I stuck that in. I had pink hydrangeas that have a lot of gray showing, so they echo the color of the container.
Did you get these hydrangeas just off your bush outside?
I did.
You can cut them now.
You can cut them now, and they probably just dry in the container without water. I've also used some artificial berries. They're burgundy. I like that color with the hydrangea and also the pink poinsettias. Then I've used one other artificial item, and that is a gray filigree, kind of like a ivy fern-like plant. But it came in a string like this, and I just cut it off, and it's a gray-green. It's great because it's soft, and it softens the look of the container. You want to make sure that you drape things over the edge to soften it. I've used ivy and ferns. Now I've cut those out of the garden. They need to be kept moist. They won't last too awfully long. You should pick them the day of your get together, and you can insert them by taking some leaves off the stem and sticking them in the dirt in the poinsettia pot. Or one other tip is, if you have some florist foam, this is florist foam here, I've cut a piece of it, stuck it in this bowl with water, and it becomes real pliable and it's wet.
Because the things in here you haven't planted, they're still in the container.
That's correct, everything except what I picked from the yard. But this helps keep the picked fresh items moist. So you don't want to pour any water in the container, because if the poinsettia gets too wet, they'll rot.
What about a spray bottle? Would you want to use that, or it doesn't really matter?
In this case, I don't think it matters. With evergreens and maybe some perennials, but in this case, no. I did pick some ivy and also some ferns that were still, held their color, were still out in the yard. I stuck those in the foam and also the poinsettia container. And you can buy, and unfortunately I don't have them with me, they're little plastic vials that have a hole in the top, and you can stick a stem in there and tuck it in the sides of the container, in the moss, you could dig a little hole, or the dirt of the poinsettia.
And they sell those at Michael's or
any craft store. I think Fred Meyer even has.
Okay. And so for this then, the florist foam really helps get everything kind of where you want it to be and to set it so it looks secure.
Secure. You can cut the florist foam any piece that you want. I took a knife and actually some in my fingers and broke it into bits and stuffed it down inside the edges. That keeps things secure from tipping. And then to finish it, I used moss. This is rainbow moss. It's a kind of a spongy-like moss, but you can also use a sphagnum moss, and you'll find that at everywhere in a bag. Dampen it in a bowl of water, and then you can pull it apart and tuck it in and around, and you'll see if you have some of the plastic pot showing or just a hole, and stuff it in there. Works wonders.
So what is this one here that you have going on in this little pretty urn?
Okay, this is another example. Now, for a centerpiece, you want to make sure that the arrangement doesn't block the view of your guests from one side of the table to another. So make sure it's low. You can put it on the table first and kind of eyeball it. This one I thought would work, but it really is too tall in this container. This would be good for
Like an island for your buffet?
Yeah, on the island for a buffet, in any room, on an end table, wherever. There's florist foam in here to keep this poinsettia steady. Then you can use items like this artificial greenery, this is kind of tippy, and stick it in the florist foam. And you can see what a difference that makes.
It really adds something.
It really adds a lot. You could just use that around the bottom, and then maybe one sprig to the side here to make it look more natural.
It adds a lot of texture too, which I really like. It makes it fuller.
And you do need quite a bit of texture with these poinsettias, because as you can see, they're soft. There's really no texture to the leaf or the flower itself.
And then what do you have this bag here for?
Well, I was fiddling around with this the other day, and I took this poinsettia, container and all, because it needs to be raised up. So I used this, stuck it in the bag. Then,
I think I gave you this bag.
yes, I believe you did. Because I wanted it to show, it says Jolly over here. I used some towels, and I stuffed them inside.
Want some in the front here too?
Yeah, right down here in the front. And then one in the back. The back is exactly like the front. And they're just 4. You can use more than that if need be.
Or you could even use like old plastic bags or something.
Plastic
too, right?
bags, rags,
Whatever you have.
whatever. And then I tuck that in a bit. You have to work with it. Pull the flowers and the leaves out so they drape over the edges like that. And once you get it in place, you can work with it and adjust the bag, or towels, whatever. Then you may need something else. I've got berries here, these artificial burgundy berries. You'll have to play around with whatever you decide to use and see if the color's right and the shape. You can bend these. And
It would be cute too with just like burlap, if you had any burlap to wrap around it, kind of the same idea.
yeah, you could use burlap like you use in tissue in a gift bag. That's a great idea. And then, fern like this. The craft store has so much, it's unbelievable.
And you could put this, we were just talking, you could put it on your front porch
That's a great
for
idea.
the day, or
Yeah,
it makes a good gift too.
it does make a cute gift. One other thing is be sure you have a pair of fairly sharp shears so you can cut the stems of the hydrangea or the greens. It'll even cut the artificial things. And then I also use some picks. Buy them in a bundle like this. This is like a little green toothpick. It has a wire attached. So you can attach the wire to a plant and stick the pick in, and it will, in some cases, when you need more, you have a short stem and you need to drape over, it'll help. There's a variety of uses for it.
Or you could use a basket like this.
Yeah, and then there's a basket. Any container will work. And the poinsettias, of course, are available in white, variegated, red and white, everything. So
Those are cute. So we can show you how you can take these from here to the table.
yeah, to the dining room table, sure.
Okay, so come on with us and we'll show you how that goes. Okay, so now we're in my mom's dining room, and she has a formal dining room, which is really nice. And so she's put together her formal table setting with a more formal styled arrangement. So tell us a little bit about what you did for this arrangement.
All right, this is pretty much the same as the others as far as putting it together and the plants. I've added more elements, I guess you would say. There are some variegated houseplants. I think there are 3 of these. 2 poinsettias, 1 medium size and 1 tiny one. A Christmas cactus. Lots of ivy and ferns. And then the moss, of course. It's green moss. And I also have an asparagus fern tucked in here. This would really be nice. Some people grow these at home as houseplants. If you had a big one, you could cut some of it off because it's so lacy and nice.
And then the container you chose is darker in color and a little bit more formal. So.
Yeah, it is. It's a glazed pot that I've had for a long time, and it reflects a lot of gold, so it picks up the color in these woven trees with the gold balls and the gold on the poppers.
Mm-hmm. The colors are sophisticated.
They're all kind of harmonious.
And then we saw these. Apparently, I gave these to my mom. I forgot.
Long time ago.
But these are napkin rings, I guess, right?
Yeah, they're napkin rings.
But they also, you can put water in them and a little plant in there, which is pretty proud of myself at.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
But these are
I
really
love
cute too, with more formal place setting, and it all ties together and looks really nice.
And instead of using the silver flatware on each place setting, I chose to use these with the wooden handles. I like the color. It's not quite as shiny. Because the dishes are shiny, I've used some silver on the table.
It's pretty.
And
We always have the poppers.
And we have the poppers. Oh, and one tip. If you need height, to add height to your arrangement, you can use, you can flip over clay pots, the small ones, or jam jars. I make a lot of jam, and I have them in various sizes. Tip them upside down, put some wet foam around them, and you can prop some of the plants, anything that you need, up on them, cover them with moss. Works like a charm.
Oh, that's a good idea.
One thing you want to do remember with these poinsettias is to lift the blossoms up. If they get buried underneath the foliage that you add to it or the moss, lift them up. Same goes with the leaves. Kind of just perks the arrangement up.
Pretty.
Thank you.
So now we're going to go over to my house with the casual arrangement if you're a lazy gardener like me, and we'll see what that looks like. So we'll see you in a couple seconds. Now we are at my house, and I do not have a formal dining room. My eating area is just adjacent to my kitchen. And what I did for my centerpiece was I have this champagne ice bucket, and I bought 2 poinsettias and placed them just directly in here. I even left the foil on. I didn't take the foil off. And then I just put some moss around there, which for me, I don't have as much time as I'd like to do my centerpieces. So unless my mom does them for me, then this is what you're gonna get. So I think it ended up looking
It looks great.
fairly nice, and it's easy, and I love this little champagne bucket I got at Home Goods for like $9. So it works, and I always use red on my table. And I cut off little pieces of poinsettia leaf and then, or petal, I guess is the petal, and place them on my napkin with a little jingle bell, because I love to decorate with bells.
It's cute.
And I use cloth napkins because I think it dresses up the table.
Definitely.
And Mom and I are big on ironing, so we just like to let people know you should press your linens if you're going to use cloth, and it only takes a couple seconds to steam your linens so they look really nice on the table. And I also used some poppers and candles, and pretty easy. Didn't take me very long to do at all.
Now what about this? Is this a wooden runner?
So this is like a wood little runner. Sometimes I use it as a charcuterie board if we're having company over, but I usually have it on my table year round, and I like the layers from a runner and then this and the textures that I do too.
And what's in, there are candles in here, but what is this?
So salt.
It's like snow. Oh, salt. Oh.
So you just buy the 59-cent, cheapy salt, and just fill them up, and it looks supposed to look like snow.
It does look like snow. It's very cute. I like it.
Yeah.
And then
important. Always have the wine on your table. And for the holidays, you should serve good quality wine. Please buy wine that's $15 or more a bottle to serve to your guests. And we can always help you find that if you need it. So
this looks great, Courtney. I like it a lot.
So we had fun doing our holiday centerpieces, and we're just talking next video, we're going to talk about house plants. I am not very good at watering my house plants, so Mom's gonna talk to us about different kinds of house plants and other ways to take care of them. So until then, Merry Christmas, and we'll see you next time.
Merry Christmas.
Bye.